Joe from New England, and we are on a veterans tour with a bunch of veterans at the USS Constitution.
Long guns. So these long guns are the gun included with the carriage. It's about 6,500 pounds. And this gun right here shoots a 24-pound cannonball, which if you go down towards that end of the ship, we've got the different size cannonballs. The carronades up on the deck above, they shot the 32-pound cannonball. The long guns can shoot these 24-pounders about 1,200 yards, opposed to the carronades shooting the 32-pounders about 400 yards. Sailors, we were able to basically shoot one of these guns and reload it and shoot it again in about 90 seconds. So that's pretty fast rate of fire, especially if you consider how many guns we had on this deck. We had a bunch of different kind of shots as well, which you guys can take a peek at the shot table over there. So other than cannonballs, we had grape shots, which are used for like anti-personnel for the guy on the other ship that you don't like. We also have star shots, which are going to rip apart sails, and we have bar shots that can rip apart the ship's rigging and whatnot. As for that, this deck was also used. This is also the kitchen area. So right here, you see this big black thing right here. That's actually the ship's caboose. That's where we would cook all of our food. Does anyone have any idea how many people were on the ship that the chefs had to cook for?
228.
500.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had anywhere from 2 to 4 cooks that would deploy with us, and they were cooking for 500 men. However, they only did one hot meal per day, which is going to be like for the lunch meal. Typically dinner, that's just going to be leftovers from lunch, and breakfast is usually something small like a hardtack or a ship's biscuit, which is basically just like a flour and water mixture mixed together. So that, other than the hardtacks, their main thing that they would eat, which is they would store them in things just like this called a harness cask. So they would, the meat that they would eat, it was 2 pounds of salt per 1 pound of meat. Make sure that's how they would preserve the meat back then. So we had no refrigeration, no air conditioning, no running water, nothing like that on the ship back then. We were storing everything that we had in barrels. So this was the most efficient way that they could store the meat. So they're basically eating beef jerky for their entire deployments that they would cook off. They would rinse it off as much salt as they could, but that's about all they could do. So this was called salt junk. Other things that they could eat if they pulled into foreign ports are just whatever they could get from there. So foreign fruits, any kinds of nuts, and then oftentimes on the ship they would sell chocolate, which isn't like a Hershey's bar today. It was more of like an actual giant thing of like cocoa. It wasn't as sweet as the chocolates are now, but they were still pretty tasty if all you're eating is hardtack and salt junk for a while. This barrel right over here, you can see it's got the little hole in it. Do I have any Navy guys here? We're all Marine. All right. Sir, you remember the term scuttlebutt? So this is actually where the term scuttlebutt originated from. So nowadays we still use the term scuttlebutt in the Navy. That just means a water fountain on the ship. So this is where sailors would actually come and get their serving of water. They would get 1 gallon of water per day. That's for drinking, and that's also for bathing. They didn't have running water, like I said, so they'd kind of just pretty much take bird baths. So it'd be a bunch of stinky guys. The reason that's called a scuttlebutt, obviously the scuttle part, it's got a little scuttle on it, and butt is actually a measurement, which is about as many gallons as that barrel could hold right there. So scuttlebutt, that's where we got that term from. And then right here, this is everyone's favorite barrel that we have. This is where we would keep our grog. You guys know what grog is? It's the good stuff. They don't give it to us anymore. Don't know why. So right here in our grog tub, this is, if you don't know what grog is, it's going to be a half water mixture. The other half's going to be rum or whiskey. So they claim that this is how they would, be able to drink water and it wouldn't be dirty and whatnot. At least that's what they convinced the captain of. I'm not sure if that actually helped it. But they were allowed 1 pint per day. So pretty substantial amount. Oftentimes they would put citrus fruits in there if they had them available, but not everywhere we went in the world could they find citrus fruits. But the citrus thing, that's mostly so that they could help prevent things like scurvy. So that was a huge killer of people on this ship. A lot of times people weren't dying from actual battles, they were dying from sicknesses that they'd get on board the ship. Scurvy being a big one of those, which is a lack of their vitamins. Another big thing that they would die from on this ship was dysentery. So that has a lot to do with poor hygiene. So like I said, they can't clean themselves that well. So that's how they would die a lot. Do I have any questions about anything right here?
How long does that meat stay okay to eat?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Where would they get water if they were out at sea or?
So down on the furthest deck below, which we're not going to get to today, it's basically our deck with storage. There's not really much down there, but they would just have barrels like that, just loaded up onto the ship, and they'd usually try and deploy with about 3 months worth of water, about 3 months worth of food. Sometimes, say they got extended and they had to be deployed for 4 months. What they would do, because they didn't have like underway replenishments like they have nowadays, so that what they would do is the captain would just cut the servings off. So if we were coming up on 2.5 months and he knew we were going to be out for another month, he's just going to tell the sailors, hey, your water rations are getting cut in half, which would obviously make the crew very angry because, you know, they're already living in these terrible living conditions, and now they're being told they get less water when they have to do the same amount of work. So it was rough, very rough living conditions. Do I have any other questions?
What about the recoil on this thing? If this thing was fired, how far back would it come?
It would come back a couple feet. You wouldn't want to be standing right here. But you know, this gun, like I said, it's 6,500 pounds. So it's just shooting a 24-pound shot, which is fairly small compared to the size of the gun. So it's definitely going to come back, roll back. You're going to want your whole gun team to stand back, but it's not going to like fly across the ship or anything crazy like that. Good question. Yes, sir.
When's the last time that the ship actually sailed out of the harbor?
So she did sail in 1997. This was in another harbor. It's called Marblehead, which is like 20 miles north of here. So she did sail for about 10 minutes then, but the last time she actually sailed like out at sea was 1881. Yes. So we still do sail maintenance. So you know, we climb like 120 feet up there, drop the sails, and do all that. But we don't actually set the sails and so that they gain wind power to, you know, basically propel the ship forward. The main reason we don't do that anymore is it's just not really necessary. The ship's more than capable of doing that, but it's a dangerous evolution for the crew, but more importantly, dangerous for the ship. So we don't want to, you know, it's America's ship of state. Don't want to damage the ship. Yes, ma'am.
What are the sails made of?
The sails, so back then they were made of hemp. Nowadays they're made of, it's called Oceana synthetic, which I'm not sure what exactly that is, but it's just a synthetic type material. But oftentimes they were made of hemp back then.
Have they been
Yes.
replaced?
Yes, they've been replaced. Yes, ma'am.
Do you still do the turnaround on Bunker Hill Day, the weekend?
So we do turnaround cruises like 6 times a year. Usually it's random dates. The only one that we for sure do it every year on is July 4th, but other than that we do like about 5 to 6 more every year. So the last one we did was October 29th.
Oh,
Yes, so a couple of days ago. Alright, well, if I don't have any more questions, you guys can take some more pictures on this deck. If you guys want, you can go one more deck below, check out the berth.
And I hope you're enjoying some of these pictures of the USS Constitution. And this is just downstairs. And that was the berthing quarters, and this is the captain's quarters and things like that. This is the commanding officer board. Here we go.
Way up there.
It's just like, I see like 100 million people.
I know.
Who are you?
I recognize it.
We were here on the metal.
He's not up there. I lost her foot.
Straight off. It's at the head of the ship. So that's where the term head comes from.
This robe because it's a boxer's robe, Apollo and then Rocky and then Creed, depending on your pop cultural reference. Boxing. I've never been in a fight. I've never competed at the All Valley Karate Tournament, never seen in California in 1984, never thrown a punch, never swept a leg. All I can do is duck. I choose to say that. This is Captain Peggy. She'll be our driver, captain today, and driving us around, keeping us safe. The safety stuff's pretty easy. It's simple. Stay seated. You can put your elbow out the window. Just don't try to high five anybody. Don't smoke. It'll stunt your growth. And yeah, that's it. There'll be different rules when we go in the water. Everybody knows we go in the water, right? Good. I feel like that's the reason most people take a duck tour, but I have seen people get surprised, which is super awkward. It's not like we hide it in the fine print, but some people just buy a ticket for something and they get weirded out when we drive it into a river. But we're on the same page. It's not insulation above us. These are just in case. But yeah, this vehicle is it's called Back Bay Bertha. It's an orange duck, or as the French call it, duck l'orange. I'm cultured. That's the only French I know. I know a couple more things. Sacre bleu. I know that one. That's a good one. I could say 3, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's a DUKW, the military acronym. D. This is the 4th letter of the alphabet. I googled it. It's true. Let's check out my facts. These are made in the 4th year of World War II, 1942. I asked Jeeves for that one. You guys remember Jeeves? He was an internet bother from the 90s before Google. If you don't remember him, look him up in your Encyclopedia Britannica. But because they're utility vehicles made for land and water to bring supplies to the front line where there were no docks or where the docks had been destroyed. And then things get complicated. K, because the letter K resembles a symbol for front-wheel drive in a car's dashboard. These are all front-wheel drive vehicles. And W, because there are double rear axles in the back. Underneath is in the shape of a W. So when we get to the Sam Adams Brewery, we're all going to take turns going underneath. We'll show you the W and how to change the oil. Or we can rotate the tires. We're going to do majority rules, whatever you want. Or I'll show you how to roll down the windows for my friend in row 6. So, I'm never going to let that go. I'm going to mention that 30 times throughout this tour. But yeah, this is the North End. This is one of our oldest neighborhoods. Did you guys just get here today, just meet up, or did you do a little sightseeing in the North End before that? No? Okay, yes, alright, whatever. And it's a cool neighborhood to walk around. It's wicked old. A lot of good pizza places. Although, my favorite pizza place, maybe we can stop there. They're only open from 11 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday. That's it. It's called Galleria Umberto. They only sell square pizza, cheese pizza, Sicilian style, rice balls, calzones, that's it. And they make enough money to exist in one of the most competitive atmospheres to run a restaurant. And they go on vacation for the entire month of July, which is kind of crazy. Sometimes people will yell quack quack at the duck. You could fail feed or yell quack quack at them back. We'll quack together if we see other ducks. We'll do it by taking a page. Oh wait, look up the alleyway to the left. You'll see the old North Church steeple past Rocco's, which is kind of cool. That's where the 2 lanterns were held up on Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. We'll talk more about that later on. Oh yeah, over on the right here, this is a nice view of the Boston Harbor. You'll see the USS Constitution over there. The 3 masts, old Ironsides, oldest active military warship still afloat in the world. Free to visit over there in Charlestown.
Really nice hotel.
And you see the Bunker Hill Monument a little bit further up. Kind of looks like it was the inspiration for the Washington Monument, although the Washington Monument's a little bit bigger. Has an elevator. This one just has 294 steps and a windy staircase. We're gonna go up there later, you guys. We're gonna do some steps. There's a dog chasing a lady. That's kind of cool. And he's in front. Okay. Yeah. Come on. You gotta learn the meaning of the word chase there, Doug. Shoes.com is over there. I guess that's a website. You buy shoes. I'm just talking about stuff I see. Ballpark on the right. There's a red car. Any questions so far? We're talking history. This is, oh yeah, there's an ice skating rink on the right. Peter Pan, there's a bus. You can take that to Neverland. It's biodiesel and runs on pixie dust. It's awesome. There's a parking garage over here on the left. Isn't that exciting? No, but this was the site of one of the biggest robberies in the 1950s. And I don't mean it was the first parking garage to charge you $40 to leave your car there. I mean, this is where the Brinks job happened. That's where the Brinks armored cars used to get kept. In early January 1955, 9 men wearing Halloween masks sold about $6 million worth of cash and holdings from all the trucks. It took 10 years to solve the case. They made a movie about it. It starred Peter Falk, Columbo, and directed by William Friedkin, the guy that directed The Exorcist. A little bit of a different tone for this movie than The Exorcist. And but when they were filming it, they were shooting in an alleyway. They noticed that one of the apartment buildings had an air conditioning unit hanging out the window, which would not have been very accurate in the 1950s. So they knocked on the door of the apartment and they said, "Hey, we're filming a movie here. Can you take the AC unit out?" And he goes, "Yeah, but it's going to cost you." And he said, "All right, what'll it take?" He goes, $100. So they gave him $100, and then they went back the next day to film. Every single window had an AC unit in. So it's good to talk to your neighbors. And increase the budget of the movie significantly after that. But yeah, this is where Paul Revere grew up over here. He lived on North Street. His house is still there. Paul Revere. He was what were being yelled at by kids? Yelling quack quack. Quack quack, stay in school. Okay, there you go. I like to give a positive message. It's 1:15, what are you doing? Alright, okay. It's a group walkout. Tennis court on the right. I don't play tennis anymore. I used to, but it was affecting my relationships. Because when you play tennis, love means nothing. Okay, that's a scoring joke. I wasn't scoring very much. So this is a boxing gym on the right. I'm banned. I just go in there and start talking about history, and they kick me out. Oh, this is a nice looking bridge over here on the right side. This is the Leonard P. Zakum Bunker Hill Memorial Bridge. That's how it looks like the Bunker Hill Monument in the center, named after civil rights activist Leonard P. Zakum. Let's look at the TD Garden over there on the right side, with the Celtics logo on the right, and the Bruins logo on the left. They light this up at nighttime. It's pretty cool, different colors for various occasions. The widest cable-stayed bridge in America. It was the widest cable-stayed bridge in North America until Vancouver, Canada built the Portman Bridge, which is slightly wider by a couple of feet. So annoying. Especially in Canada, they don't even use feet, they use Celsius. Oh, look at the statue on the right. Number 4, Bobby Orr. Are you guys all from Massachusetts? Some of you?
Hell no.
No? Okay, one. All right, sir, you're the official fact checker.
He lives in New Hampshire.
He lives in New Hampshire. I'll count it. Okay.
I'm from Lowell.
So Bobby Orr, that's after he scored the game-winning goal in the 1970 Stanley Cup championship. Yes. And so this is my favorite part about it. So it was a 4-game sweep of the St. Louis Blues. Anyone here from St. Louis? Okay, sorry. But so the game went to overtime. We scored 3-3. So he scored the 4th goal in the 4th period of the 4th game. He wore number 4, and he's not jumping in the air and celebrating. He got tripped by someone on the other team who also wore number 4. So 5 4s. There you go. The goal, Bobby Orr. Revolutionized the defenseman position. Bruins won last night. Played the Ottawa Senators over there in their capital of Canada.
3-2.
I like, anybody here from Canada? I like Canada. It's my top 23
Winning goal
favorite
was by
countries.
Virgin.
It's only 23. It's up there. It's wicked north. It's the great way north. This is the Thomas P. O'Neill Federal Building over here on the right. If you tonight that it aired, a bunch of us watched it on the Common Room TV of the Juvenile Detention Center as incarcerated. I'm kidding. I watched it alone. I was in solitary confinement. No, I'm innocent. I didn't remove those mattress tags while rebroadcasting a National Football League game without the express written consent of the NFL. I was framed. Or the implied oral consent. It's different. But notice all the windows are tilted in, so we can't see them, but they can definitely see us. I saw you wave. I know this because one time I was at a red light and there's a guy on the sidewalk. He just kept yelling, "Hey, duck guy! Hey, duck guy!" Finally I said, "Yeah, I'm a duck guy. Hey." He goes, "Hey, just get out of the Nash." It's on Nashua Street. We call it the Nash. He goes, "Yeah, me and my cellmate used to bet what color duck splashed into the water." I didn't ask him what he was in for. I assume gambling. We pretty much go at the same time every 2